Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Sammy Thunder here. Today, I wanted to finish the weekend off by opening up yet again another Topps 1970-71 basketball set break from sportscards.com. If you've seen my other videos, you'll know that there are 5 cards per box, one Hall of Famer. We have gotten some great names so far, including a JoJo White rookie card. We've also received an Oscar Robertson All-Star, Nate Thurmond, Elgin Baylor, both base and his All-Star, as well as a number of other great big names. Before I open this up, I just want to announce that for those that are interested, y'all know that I do my weekly vintage videos, and I have a weekly vintage giveaway happening right now. So I'm going to leave a link at the end of this video for y'all to click on so you can participate. So just for some rules, for some context, let me bring that up. So the obvious one is just make sure you're subscribed to the channel publicly. At the end, click on that video and you'll leave a comment, and also make sure you have a U.S. or Canadian shipping address to qualify, and then you'll be entered. The other thing I wanted to talk about today, I was just watching Lee's video. I think y'all know Lee, also known as Criterium Racer, a very great member of our card community, is a huge baseball fan. Vintage baseball cards. I mean, he loves all styles, from my understanding, but I know he loves the old stuff as well. And he recently published a video, and it got me thinking a little bit. He recently picked up a box of Donruss 1987 packs, and so I don't know if y'all felt the same way, but when I was a kid, I would go to card shows. This is like the mid '90s. There was a convention center in White Plains, New York, called the Westchester County Center. Anybody in New York probably might know, or at least in the tri-state area, or the greater New York City area, might know about this place. And they would do monthly shows. It was very, very popular. I mean, collecting at that time was incredible. I would, be a kid and I would go around and, those 87 cards, the 86 cards. I'm not talking about the vintage, like anything. I mean, the vintage was expensive too, but as a kid, I grew up loving, watching McGwire, Bonds, Clemens, Maddox, all these big names, Randy Johnson, all these big names, and their rookie cards were so admirable. You would just, I would want the Donruss '87 Bonds, but really the rated rookie cards were where I was at. So like the McGwire and the Maddox, those were the two key ones to get. I can't really remember exactly how I acquired them, but I did get them eventually. I think my dad gave me some money to spend, and it was like a kind of like a baseball card allowance. I must have been maybe, I don't know, 10, 11, or 12, probably in that range. But I remember going to the county center. My mom would tell me that I would spend both days the entire time there. Like they would drop me off, I'd buy my admission, go in the show, walk around for hours and hours. And I think I just loved being there. I loved looking at the cards. I remember just seeing all the showcases and thinking, wow, I just love to, just buy a card from each one. And I think also at the time I was going through like my Todd Helton phase where I was buying up all Todd Helton rookie cards because he was gonna be the real deal. He looked to be like the next star, and I guess like nowadays it seems like with the modern cards, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but it seems like with the modern cards, everybody buys cards of the next big player. Who's going to be the next big player? Kind of like I guess like Joey Bart for the San Francisco Giants. He's supposed to be really good, and that guy from Baltimore, or who's going to be playing for Baltimore, Adley Rushman. But that's getting away from the point. But it seems like you know people invest in players that they think are going to be really good, and Todd Helton at that time was already in the major leagues. It's not like he was a prospect, but he was killing the ball and on the Rockies. And McGuire was always a favorite of mine, but then when Todd Helton started playing really well, I kind of switched over to being a huge Todd Helton collector, and I was buying up every Todd Helton card I can find. And they were still reasonably priced, like $1, $2, and that's probably what they're worth now, maybe 50 cents. At the time, I was thinking, wow, I'm buying like 50 Todd Helton cards for $30, and they're going to be worth $300 in the future. And I think I still have those cards. I remember going to my mother's house and she retrieved a bunch of cards in the basement, and it was literally just nostalgia overload, just deja vu, going through all these cards, finding Todd Helton stacks, and also I forgot that I also went through like a Terrell Davis moment. It must be a Colorado thing because I mean Terrell Davis, I mean he is a Hall of Famer, but I just remember him winning two straight Super Bowls with John Elway, and I was thinking, man, this guy's the real deal. So I don't know if y'all have kind of had those moments. I think baseball or sports cards in general just kind of help relinquish those memories, and it's a good feeling. At least for me, it is. And so I hope y'all don't mind that I shared that with y'all. I know the focus today was to open up the 70 and 71 tops, and I do want to do that, but I wanted to share a little bit of history with y'all just to kind of give you some context of who I am and where I come from, and basing that on cards in particular. And last thing I'll say on the matter is I don't take those memories for granted. Um, those cards that we desire. Uh, we definitely. I mean, I keep a lot of those cards from childhood for sentimental reasons. So thank y'all for listening. But we'll go ahead and we'll open up the 7071 box break. Let me just get the box cutters right here so it works perfectly. But before we get into that, of course, these are the cards that we still have yet to find. Hopefully, they're in one of these boxes. I have three remaining boxes after this. Actually, no, I have more than that. I have a couple more, but we want to look for the Pete Maravich rookie card. That's who we want to look for, as well as the Lou Alcindor and Will Chamberlain. It'd be great if we found them in here. Now, I've been fortunate to find two Hall of Famers in the last video, so it'd be great if we find two more in here. But let's go ahead. We'll break this open and see what we can find. So just as I always do, I keep an element of surprise. I keep the cards on my lap so that when I go through them, I'm kind of looking straight at the camera, but not seeing what card is coming up. So the mystery is kind of revealed for both myself and y'all that are watching. And so, as always, the first thing we always see is the bonus card. So that can be scratched and scratched off to get a discount or some sort of prize from sportscards.com. I have a bunch of these I still have to scratch. And they actually look like they just released a bunch of new sets, so I'm gonna look into those. They're all baseball, so I'm gonna have to look into that to kind of go back into baseball a bit. But today, we'll look at our first card. First card today. Oh wow, look at that. The Gale this is the Hall of Famer right here. The Gail Goodrich. Los Angeles Lakers. Look at this card. What a solid condition card this is. I mean, no creases, no corner issues, no surface damage. It is just and well centered. Uh, Listen, I'm a Celtics fan first and foremost, but I admire collecting Lakers cards, and a majority of these boxes have been Lakers cards, with the exception of JoJo White. Um, I have Gail Goodrich and Elgin Baylor, but this is great. Let's learn a little bit about Gail. So he's a guard, 6'1", 175. He's been a pro for 5 years. And this card, I think, is his second year card. Excuse me. Gale's father was captain of the 1939 USC basketball team, so it's kind of a nice little graphic. They both played for California schools. Gale was reacquired by the Lakers as a result of an offseason trade. Picked by Phoenix in the expansion draft, he led the club in scoring and he was named to the All Star squad of the West in 1968 69. One of the NBA's smallest players, Gale was a top scorer on two UCLA national champions. As a senior, he was named first team All American. And when you look at his stats here, he just gets better and better. When he came to the Lakers, he was averaging 7 points. Then it boosted up to 12, 13. Then when he went to Phoenix and he started every game, 23 and 20 points, and just climbed and climbed. And obviously, we know what kind of career he's had. Gail Goodrich is a superstar, Hall of Famer, and this is a great card. I'm really glad to have this in the PC now. So that's card number one. Nice way to start. I might it might not be as good going forward, but we'll see. You never know. We got Dave Newmark of the Atlanta Hawks. Kind of an interesting pose there. Um, he was the center for the Atlanta Hawks, and let's see what his numbers look like. It looks like this is his second year. Uh, Born in Brooklyn, New York, Dave was once an understudy in a Broadway show. He was 7 foot and a quarter. That's a tall man on a Broadway stage. Probably would have been the tallest Broadway performer. Maybe or maybe not. I don't know the history of Broadway, so I can't really share too much of that. Dave launched his basketball career at the age of 13, playing in the schoolyards of Brooklyn. Later, he was named an All American as a senior at Abraham Lincoln High School. At Columbia University, Dave averaged 17 points and 15 rebounds per game, practically. With 550 points, he was the Lions' leading sophomore scorer, while his 197 field goals ranked him second in Columbia's all time season records. Um, so, when he came to the NBA, his numbers obviously did not match his college days. I mean, he was averaging 5 points and then 4 points. So it looks like they wanted him to start almost every game with 81 games, but he wasn't the focal point of the offense. It looked like he was more of just a role player. Um, and it looked like after year one, his career didn't really take off probably the way he wanted it to. And it looks like he played 64 games. I don't know if that's due to injury or just preference of the player that got the starts for Atlanta. But it looks like he may have come off the bench, possibly. So this is Dave Newmark. And our next card, number three. Oh, wow. Don Chaney for the Boston Celtics. That's a nice one to get. Don Chaney. So Don's nickname is Duck. He was born in Louisiana. That's pretty cool. 6'5". He is a guard. Don has the physical gift to be a great backcourtman. Big and agile, he has exceptionally strong arms and the quick reactions to be a standout on defense. Having played in the shadow of a great big man, Elvin Hayes in Houston, Don has never really been appreciated for all of his talents. He spent most of the 68-69 season on active duty in the Army Reserve, but saw a great deal more action last year. So Don with the Celtics, first year only played 20 games, so off the bench guy probably. Second year had 63. I don't know if he was a starter. If I had to guess, this was oh, if he was a guard. I don't know if Havlicek was a forward at that time. JoJo White came in the league probably, yeah, that year. He was probably a starter. I have to look into it. I'm not 100% sure who was the starting guards, but it looks like based on the 63 games that Cheney played, uh, he would probably came off the bench with those numbers. So number three card is Don Cheney. Happy to have him. As y'all know, I am a big Celtics fan, so that's cool. Card number four, Tom Sanders, another legendary Celtic, and that's a great pose of him. Great shot, long arms, super long arms. He was a forward, 6'6" from New York, and Tom is active in the rehabilitation of ghetto areas. Satch has been a dedicated ball player all his life. He has courage under fire and is tenacious on defense. He has scored in double figures in all but his rookie campaign, and look at that. I mean, he was playing with Russell and Kuzi, Havlicek, Heinsohn, Don Nelson. So, and his numbers are just consistent. That's you don't have to be a superstar, but if you're consistent and perform your role, you will be a success in the NBA. And it looks like Tom Sanders, Tom Satch Sanders, was exactly that. His numbers are great. 5 points in his rookie year, which is expected out of a rookie. You never expect somebody to dominate the game right at the get go, unless you're Larry Bird or Bill Russell or Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson or a lot of these guys who just come out the gate running. But that's okay. You don't like you could just see the jump. 5 points to 11, then 10, and 11, 11, 12, 10, 10, 11, 11. This was a player that knew his role, knew his responsibility, and was effective on the court. And I'm sure when he played, he was trusted by all of his teammates, by his coach, and just played to his role and played to his strength. And obviously, he was a tenacious defender as well, so it all kind of added up. But this is a great card, Tom Sanders. I'm super stoked that I have two Celtics in this pack. With all due respect to Gail Goodrich, I will always appreciate Celtics cards over Lakers cards, but does not mean that I will disregard any Lakers card that I do receive. But this is very cool. Last but not least, number five card is Rod Thorn of the Seattle Supersonics. He is a guard. It's quite the facial expression he has, kind of almost as if he's surprised by the photograph. And he is 6'4", 200 pounds. He is constantly plagued by injuries. Rod was off to his best start in the 68-69 campaign. He averaged 16.9 points per game when a knee injury sent him to the sidelines. The loss of Rod's fine outside shot was a major factor in the Supersonics' failure to make the playoffs. And you can sort of see those numbers. Rod is one of the NBA's fearless driving guards. He averaged 14 points, with Baltimore, 11 with Detroit, 10, 8, 15. So he did have a bounce back year, 11 and then 2. So I guess just injuries succumbed to Rod Thorn to unfortunately not have the career he wanted. But clearly, if he were healthy, it looked like he would have been quite the player, potentially a Hall of Famer, if things kind of worked out his way. So this is Rod Thorn. Let's go through these cards together. I think this one was a very very nice box. Still waiting, hopefully, on the Maravich and the Lou Alcindor and the Will Chamberlain. We'll hopefully come across them next time. But let's go through the five that we have. So we have Rod Thorn, Tom Satch Sanders, great card, Don Cheney, Dave Newmark, and our superstar Hall of Famer from the get go. We got Gail Goodrich. All of these cards look to be in phenomenal shape. I do not see really anything wrong with any of them. The only one that I saw that might have had problems is on the back of the Rod Thorn card. There was a little stain on here, but that is so minimal to me that That's not something that will upset me in any way. But these are great cards. There's just it's a great set. So we'll definitely have more to open going forward in the future. I do thank y'all for watching and for listening to my story in the beginning. I appreciate it. Let me know which card you liked out of all of these, and we will definitely meet up again. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Take care.